Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining me for our third thank you card. Let's get right to it. So right here I'm showing you the Simon Says stamp that we're going to be using, which is called What's Brewing. And we're using, I'm using the MISTI stamp from My Sweet Petunia. And I'm doing this because I want to do two cards at the same time. And I just had a little bit of a hiccup. I put the cup on backwards. So I had to clean it off and reapply it so that way it would stamp correctly. So things happen while you're stamping. You just keep it going. The good thing is I didn't actually press down the stamp after I had inked it the wrong way. Now the best part about the MISTI stamp is that you can stamp multiple times and get the black lines as dark as you want, because as long as you don't move your paper, you can stamp it multiple times if it doesn't come out clear. So I'm going to do my second stamp, and of course I'm using my VersaFine Black Onyx ink, which is my favorite one for clear stamps. And after we press down, I'm going to wind up doing it one more time because the smoke that is coming out of the cup didn't stamp as crisp as I wanted it. So all I'm doing is really inking up the cup and the smoke lines. And then once I do that, I'm all done. So the next thing I wanted to do, I was thinking of coloring it in with a few Copic markers. And with Copic markers, you can't immediately start coloring with the VersaFine. So I was going to use my heat tool to dry it. But then I was like, well, to give it some interest, why don't I make it shiny? So I'm taking the Simon Says stamp Fine Detail Clear embossing powder, and I'm pouring it over my stamped images. Now, if I had thought about that before I started, I would have prepped my card with the powder tool. As you noticed, I did not. So after I applied the embossing powder, I just give it a quick blow so that way any extra embossing powder on my card comes off. So I just like huff it, or however you want to call it, just to get the excess off. And then this container here I actually got because of Jennifer McGuire. She showed how she stored her embossing powders, and I only got 3 as of right now, but I think down the road I hope to get more so I can do all my other colors as well. So on this first one, as you can see, I'm just heating up the embossing powder, and I always like to heat from the back as well so that way it minimizes the warping. And then I'm trying to hold it up just a little bit closer for you so you can see how you can tell when the embossing powder is heated up, because it's dull and then all of a sudden you'll see the shine come. And then it's all done. And now you can color with the Copics and you don't have to fear of smearing. So I'm just grabbing a few of the Copic markers, and for the tea or coffee inside, I'm using E13 and E23. Just to give it a little bit, because it's not a large section, so just to give it a little bit of interest. And then I was thinking about the cup itself, and I liked it in the white, but I wanted to just give it a little bit of interest. So I took the C00, which is a cool gray, and the W00, which is a warm gray. And I did just a little bit underneath the cups to give it a little bit of grounding. And then I also used it to color in the cup itself to give it a little bit of, I guess my idea of shadow. But to still keep the white kind of coming through. So that was my thought process, is, for that. And so I'm coloring the first cup. Once again, just switching back and forth. I try to use the warm gray more in the shadow parts, and then the cool gray kind of in the lighter areas. And I colored a little bit in between the smoke pictures on this one, but on the next one I don't do that, and I don't think you lose anything from not having it. So I'm just looking at it. Do I like it with the gray? Do I not? And I decided I was going to do it on both. I committed. I stayed with my choice. So just real quick, I'm doing the same thing I did with the first one on the second one. Just to give it a little bit of visual interest on the front. Because the front of the card is going to be fairly simple. I'm trying to make cards that are male or female friendly, so this, I feel like it would work with any, any gender. Now this cardstock that I just folded in half, I had already pre-scored it. That is the, oh my lord, it just totally left my brain. Oh, the Nina, the 110 pound cardstock, so it's really thick. And this is cards that I plan on giving to somebody as a part of a box set or a group set of cards that I'm making. So I use the heavier weight cardstock so that way it would give it substance and make it feel, strong. I don't want to just give out flimsy cards. So whenever I'm making or doing a card that someone is paying me for, I like to make sure that it's, sturdy. So that's the front of the card, and I was thinking, I had already planned putting a smiley face in the center of each of the cups, because, coffee, if you're a coffee drinker, I know it makes you happy, and I know for me, I tend to drink more tea than coffee, but, I mean, it makes me smile. There's nothing like a rainy day with a cup of tea for me. Alright, so on the inside, I wanted to take it up a notch as well. So I'm taking the Tim Holtz Splatters stencil, and I'm using the mini ink, the tea dye. Okay, and I figured that was the best, color or shade of brown to mimic either a coffee stain or a tea stain. And it gives just a little hint of, something on the background to make the inside interesting as well. And I find whenever you're doing more than one card, and I know I've said this before, but it's definitely better to, whatever step you're working on, that you get each card to that same spot. So that way you're never having to go back and, get the other card caught up. If you keep them doing the same step at the same time, then when you're done both cards, and you don't have to worry about doing anything else. So on the inside, I'm just stamping "You're the Best," which is also a part of that What's Brewing stamp set. And on this one, I did the inking, the Distress ink, a little bit lighter, so the "You're the Best" stands out, but I still like it for either one, and there's plenty of room to still write a message. So thank you guys again for watching my video. Please comment below if you have any, comments that you want to share, helpful hints. I would definitely appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and that way you can get updates whenever I have new videos coming out. Alright, you guys enjoy your weekend, and if you're a card maker, enjoy tomorrow, which is National Card Making Day. You guys have a great one.